News update live right here from the H&N Digital Center. I'm Jonathan Jared Soppy alongside Mark Carpenter. So here's what we're talking about. An abandoned home went up in flames in the Kalihi area this morning, and it wasn't the first time.
Yeah, and smoke was as visible from as far away as the airport viaduct. Our Dylan Anchetta joins us with the latest from HFD. Dylan.
Hey guys, yeah, at this hour we don't know what caused this fire. However, it triggered a 2-alarm response from fire stations nearby. Take a look at some of this video. The fire was reported around 9 a.m. at the home along Pohaku Street. HFD responded with 11 units and over 40 personnel. Pohaku and Ahiahi streets were closed as firefighters tried to get the upper hand on the flames. It took them a few minutes to bring it under control, but it wasn't deemed fully extinguished until after 10. Now, there were no immediate reports of injuries. We're told the home had been abandoned for quite some time, and it is known to have some issues with squatters. Now, this is the second fire reported at this home in recent years. One witness, Nicholas Vega, who spoke with us, said that he saw a man he thought seemed to be suspicious just moments before the fire began.
I seen some type of homeless guy that was conjuring around the area. When I came in, he came out a little after that, maybe like 5 minutes. The fire started blazing up. I heard this is the second time for this house since the couple passed away.
Again, fire investigators are still working to find a cause, and we're also waiting on damage estimates from HFD. We'll be sure to bring you any updates to the story on the H&N mobile app and our website. For This Is Now, I'm Dylan Anchetta.
All right, thank you, Dylan, for that breaking news update. More developing news. We're still talking about yesterday's First Alert Weather Day. Here's some of the latest video we've got into our newsroom. Heavy rains and strong winds wreaked havoc across the state, and now residents are picking up the pieces left behind by that storm.
Oh my God.
Maui seemed to be one of the hardest hit islands. Video taken by a resident showed a massive tree that got uprooted, crashing into multiple cars in the parking lot at the shops at Wailea.
Oh.
Hail was also reported on several islands. On Oahu, those strong gusts sent trees and plants flying as guests watched at Disney's Aulani Resort. The winds also left folks in Makaha freaking out a bit.
Funnel cloud in Makaha, holy.
And check out this video. Stormwater opened up the Waimea Bay river mouth with dirty brown runoff flowing into the ocean. We have so much more coverage on the First Alert Weather Day from yesterday right now, posted on your H&N digital platforms, including an impressive image gallery with tons of viewer-submitted photos. Check it out.
The National Transportation Safety Board is investigating a Hawaiian Airlines flight that hit severe turbulence Sunday, injuring dozens. Allison Blair has more.
Over the past 15 years, there have been at least 3 incidents in Honolulu where people were severely injured after their aircraft encountered extreme turbulence.
Do you need people to carry bags out?
Moments after Hawaiian Airlines Flight 35 touched down in Honolulu Sunday morning, first responders were on board. Row by row, the wounded were identified, evaluated, rushed to a hospital.
The patients and the passengers were orderly and calm yesterday, and that was really important because it allows access to those most seriously injured.
A total of 36 people were hurt, 11 seriously, after the aircraft hit severe turbulence a half hour prior to landing, sending passengers flying out of their seats.
The plane shook, and then it went into a sudden drop, kind of like how you would go into a drop on a roller coaster.
It was reported at least one person lost consciousness after their head slammed against the ceiling, while the unexpected dive left some on board with deep gashes.
A couple of the lacerations looked like they were going to need a significant number of sutures, but the most significantly injured people were people who were at the time not in their seats or not seat belted.
Records show there was a similar incident in the summer of 2019.
Yeah, it wasn't just rocky, it was a complete plummet through the sky.
The Air Canada flight bound for Australia was forced to make an emergency landing in Honolulu after 37 people were hurt.
I left the seat and I went up and I hit the roof and made up a hole in the roof, and people were crying and screaming, obviously. And people were getting their kids off the floor and people were in the aisle.
This NTSB report details a third incident that happened Christmas Day 2007. 4 people were injured, including a flight attendant who suffered a fractured spine.
Staying seatbelted, stowing away unused material, no matter what it is, I think is what we all hear on the airplane. But this just reinforces why it's so important.
Sunday afternoon, patients poured into the emergency room at the Queen's Medical Center. Today, we asked Hawaiian Airlines if they had an update on how many people were still hospitalized. A spokesperson told us in a statement, "We are unable to comment due to the NTSB investigation. Our teams are continuing to support everyone affected by yesterday's event."
That statement went on to say that the aircraft involved will undergo a thorough inspection before it's returned to service. Allison Blair, Hawaii News Now.
Hawaii's congressional delegation is calling for an independent investigation into the latest leak at Red Hill. An estimated 1,300 gallons of toxic firefighting foam spilled on November 29th, prompting emergency cleanup efforts and concerns of groundwater contamination by so-called forever chemicals. In a letter to the Government Accountability Office, the delegation says the incident potentially exposed the community to enduring health threats, and the people of Hawaii deserve answers. They add any investigation should not delay ongoing defueling efforts at Red Hill, which will receive $1 billion of federal funding from the annual appropriations bill. A 6.4 magnitude earthquake hit Northern California this morning, about 200 miles northwest of San Francisco. Jasmine Veal has the details.
Things were crashing down, as you can see. This was a coffee station that we had in our little house here, and our old Victorian house, and it's all on the floor.
Caroline Titus shows us the inside of her Ferndale home Tuesday morning after a 6.4 magnitude earthquake rattled her from bed just after 2:30 a.m.
And immediately I thought, okay, here we go.
The quake was followed by more than 24 aftershocks in Humboldt County. At least 2 people were hurt. Thousands were left without electricity and homes were damaged. Power was also out in nearby Fortuna, where the quake broke windows at some businesses and tossed products off store shelves.
If it had been during the daytime and I was standing right here, that would not have been fun. So just another good reminder, that you need to bolt things down and secure them.
Titus took this video of Main Street where damage appeared to be minimal there, considering the strength of the quake. 1 year ago to the day, the same area was hit by a 6.2 magnitude quake, and many business owners were left with shattered glass.
No plate glass windows out as compared to just a year ago on this exact same day. So it definitely was a north-south shaker, which was different than last year.
The quake also damaged the historic Ferndale Bridge and other roads.
Feel very lucky that nothing else happened.
And officials are warning people to avoid the area while they inspect the damage. Jasmine Veal, CBS News.
New concerns to report today at noon over China lifting its zero COVID policy. Many are worried about what that means for the country's healthcare system. Selena Wang reports from Beijing.
China's COVID policy has swung from one extreme to another, and many people here have been caught off guard by this sudden shift from harsh lockdowns over a few COVID cases to now letting the virus rapidly spread. In the major city of Chongqing, which was under mass COVID lockdown last month, well, that city is now telling people that even if they have COVID and are sick, as long as they're only mildly sick, well, they can go back to work as normal. This is a dramatic, unexpected U-turn that health experts say the health system is not prepared for after 3 years of harsh lockdowns and mass testing. And we're already seeing hospitals under strain in major cities. Hospitals have said they're dealing with outbreaks among staff. Long lines like these are forming outside of hospitals in big cities, like these videos from Hangzhou and Wuhan. Now, China has only announced a few COVID deaths since reopening, but what we see on the ground points to a different story. I went to a major crematorium in Beijing, and you can see the long lines of cars waiting to get to that cremation area. The parking lot was full as well, and several people there told me their loved ones had died from COVID, and an employee said they're swamped with dead bodies. The stores nearby selling funerary items said they're much busier than normal. Now, a new study from Hong Kong researchers says that China's sudden exit from its zero COVID policy could lead to nearly 1 million deaths. But the report does say that 1 million people dying of COVID in China is a worst case scenario if China doesn't take extra precautions. It says if China can successfully boost the vaccination rate, use antiviral treatments, and take other public health measures, it could reduce the deaths by hundreds of thousands. U.S. State Department spokesman Ned Price said the toll of COVID-19 in China is of concern to the rest of the world, given the size of China's GDP and its economy. Selena Wang, CNN, Beijing.
And this update to pass along, the Japanese yen jumped today following the central bank's announcement to tweak its, quote, super easy monetary policy. The Bank of Japan said it will raise its cap on 10-year yields to around 0.5%, up from 0.25%. The move marks a really rare change for the Bank of Japan, which had largely maintained its ultra-easy policy while its counterparts in major economies rose rates to tackle global inflation. The yen jumped against the US dollar from 137 yen to 133 immediately after the decision was made. Of course, the weak yen has been blamed for those low visitor arrival numbers from Japan coming into Hawaii.
With airports gearing up for a massive holiday rush, mounting concerns about weather and safety. This as a massive winter storm develops. Here's NBC's Maggie Vespa.
The holiday travel surge already underway, as you can see here at O'Hare International Airport. 2.9 million people expected to come through this airport during the holidays alone. Nationwide, we're looking at a potential post-pandemic record. AAA, we know, estimating close to 113 million Americans will drive or fly 50 miles or more to be with loved ones during the holidays. So take all of those numbers and throw in a potential huge curveball, that massive winter storm building out west set to slam the Pacific Northwest, the Rockies, the Great Plains, all the way up into the Northeast with snow, wind, rain, ice, you name it. That could obviously, again, throw a huge wrench into travel nationwide. So already the airlines are preparing, United and American Airlines waiving rebooking fees to allow people to navigate their flights around the worst of the storm's impact. And if you're hitting the roads, experts stress to check the forecast before you head out along your route at your destination to make sure you're not leaving during or driving into the worst of this storm. Back to you.
Thank you very much for that update. Hey, why don't we take a live look outside right now at our airport.
Better than yesterday.
Yeah, looking better than yesterday, but there has been reports of some delays even still today. They're at Oahu's airport, DKI, and so you're going to want to check with your carrier if you do have flights planned. But it is certainly clearing up out there. It even looked quite a bit gloomier this morning on sunrise when they were showing this shot as well. But let's get the latest update from First Alert Weather Team. Here is our Guy Huggy.
Might see a white Christmas. Look at all the snow up in Mauna Kea right now. However, that winter weather warning has been canceled because there's not much precipitation, although it's still very windy up there. And that big storm, which brought all the snow and the rain and the wind, is slowly moving out. So by this afternoon, much drier conditions, save for a few showers for the east end of the state. And the winds will be settling down as well as that system pulls away. Another weak system moving in on Thursday. Not a lot of rain with it, just a few minor splashes. The main thing is it's going to keep the winds rather light for the next several days. So we're not going to see much in the way of rainfall after tomorrow, but today still a little damp out there for some leeward areas, and looks like for Christmas things will be very, very nice.
Well, the holiday shopping season well underway in full force, and all that buying could mean a lot of returns to come. Let's turn things over now to Vicky Wynn with your Returning 101 tips.
As long as we've been giving gifts, we've been returning them too. The retail return merry-go-round now at a fever pitch thanks to the ease of pointing, clicking, and buying.
If there's one thing I'm passionate about, it's a good deal.
Last year, consumers returned $158 billion of merchandise purchased just during the holidays.
All of these retailers are trying to find shortcuts, things to keep their costs down so that new cost is not passed down to consumers.
Michael Garfield, the high-tech Texan, specializes in technology and consumer lifestyles. He says retailers want to make it easy for you to buy and return so you'll come back.
They've got to make it hassle-free because that loyalty is going to be there, and that loyalty, it turns into repeat business.
But some retailers are trying to curb those costs and may charge a return fee for items sent back. And it can get tricky, so read the fine print.
The good news, this year you have more options than ever to send back any unwanted items. For example, Happy Returns, which is owned by PayPal, now has more than 5,000 locations for you to do a return, and they're partnering with more than 200 retailers, including Allbirds, and got these in the wrong size, so I'm going to walk you through how the return works.
First, request a return with your order number.
All right, here we go. Drop off at a Happy Returns location. Okay, I'm going to click this.
A search tool helps you find a return bar near you.
There it is. So I have my QR code. It's been emailed to me, so that's all I'm going to need when I show up at the store to return the shoes.
So far, the most difficult thing, New York City traffic.
Okay, so this is Ulta. They don't sell shoes, but they are going to take my return because they're a Happy Returns partner. So let's see how it works. I have the QR code right here. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
She scans my phone, checks the shoes, and bags them up.
For your receipt, it's going to be in your email.
Okay.
The whole thing took about 2 minutes.
Wow, okay, so it confirmed that I got the return, and I also actually got a $3.50 off coupon for a $15 purchase here at Ulta.
And what shoppers want is free and friction-free returns.
David Sobey is vice president of Happy Returns by PayPal and says avoiding boxes and printing labels is a gift to the environment.
As you see behind me, those are Happy Returns reusable shipping totes. So not only are we reducing the number of shipments because we're aggregating returns, we're also eliminating cardboard from the equation.
When you break it down, what does it look like if you have a bad versus a good return experience?
Almost 80% of shoppers report that they're less likely to shop again from that retailer if they have a bad return experience.
The world's largest retailer, Amazon, also making returns easy.
And with Amazon Returns, no packaging or label required. You just need the code sent to your phone.
Just choose Whole Foods, an Amazon locker, or even a UPS store to drop off your return.
You can get your refund back as soon as it's dropped off. The process is seamless, it's simple, and it's very convenient.
And Walmart Plus members can now request at-home pickup. That's right, Walmart has expanded its service to come to you to grab the return. No matter who the retailer is, when it comes to returns, always keep your receipts, save your packaging until you're sure it's a keeper, and avoid impulse buying.
Try to find retailers that make it easy and do your homework before you check out.
All right, what do you say? We don't talk about that stressful stuff of the holidays.
That's right.
And returns, but let's keep talking about the money. Not our money, UK money. Take a look at this. Check it out. There is new banknotes out there featuring King Charles III. I still have a tough time saying King Charles. I always want to say Prince. His portrait will be featured on the 5, 10, and 20, 50, and 50-pound notes. And these notes are going to replace the ones of the late Queen Elizabeth II, of course. The new banknotes will enter circulation in mid-2022 and will mingle with notes featuring the Queen's portrait, and which will remain as legal tender. Little confusing.
Yeah, little bit, but I mean, what an honor, right, to be featured on money. That was a typo on my part. It will be in circulation mid-2024.
Oh,
so yeah, just doing the research there. Numbers got mixed up. So yeah, 2024.
A lot of numbers in that story.
That was
Good
my
catch.
bad on that one. Yeah.
Thanks for listening to me too. Thank you.
Now to what's also trending online as you see the images from the World Cup celebration in Argentina. I think the kids would describe it as scenes.
Yeah.
But in addition to widely being considered the greatest soccer player of all time, new World Cup champion Lionel Messi can now claim another title, most liked Instagram photo. This post of him celebrating the World Cup is the most liked post in the platform's history, more than 63 million likes.
Wow.
This beats out a classic photo of an egg that earned 56 million likes. Messi also has 403 million followers on Instagram. It's going to have millions and millions of more as he continued to just celebrate that remarkable performance that we saw in Qatar on Sunday.
Great image there, too. How could it not be shared that much?
Iconic. That is genuine happiness right there.
Looking at that gold. All right. classic TV show making a comeback. Mark Carpenter's never heard of it, which dates me. Night Court. You guys remember Night Court, right? Yeah, it was a great show. Great show. Night Court coming back to KHNL in January. And today we've got your sneak preview and good news. Now, I'll just play it out for you.
You'll indulge me. I just like to know what's underneath all this.
You're the judge.
When we were pitching it, I kept calling it a new boot because it's very much a continuation of the show that I love so much.
All rise. The Honorable Abby Stone presiding.
Abby Stone is the daughter of Judge Harry Stone from the original. She really wants to make a difference. She's an eternal optimist.
They gave me this fancy wooden hammer, so I'm gonna get to do what I want.
I couldn't believe that I was getting the great fortune to work with John Larroquette.
When the door first opens and we first see Fielding and Abby sees him for the first time, that what 35 years has done to this old salty dog. I'm afraid you've confused me with someone else. Someone who likes people. Being back on Night Court, seeing the new fresh faces of these very talented comedians who I'm working with makes it worthwhile.
John's always up to some kind of mischief and throwing things in that we never saw coming.
But I am not afraid to open a box. Stay out! Harry!
This is the best job ever. That's right, you heard me correctly.
I gotta find ways to keep my brain from eating itself.
It's really become this amazing workplace family.
It's filled with crazy characters and then, you know, the people in the gallery.
There's a decent chance a total stranger will try to stick their hand in your mouth.
Guilty. Guilty. Impressive, but guilty.
I'm already retreading this.
All right, let's do this.
Night Court, the reboot, coming Tuesday, January 17th to KHNL.
Looks like a great time.
Yeah, it's a good show. Watch some reruns, my friend. It's good stuff.
Oh, give it a watch. Check it out. And finally, how about this iconic image that we saw? That this is something that E.T. fans will love. The animatronic alien from the Steven Spielberg classic sold for $2.6 million at auction. Back in the 80s, it was considered an engineering masterpiece with facial expressions, neck movements, 85 points of articulation. And this is well before CGI came along. So really, really cool technology there. And yeah, I mean, just an authentic piece of movie history.
All right, guys, keep watching HNN all day long. We got more severe weather coverage coming up at First at 4 with Mark Carpenter. And speaking of that, I wanted to leave you today with some of those really impressive images we saw from yesterday's First Alert Weather Day.
Yes, definitely hail.